What up, everybody? It's your boy Ray Lynn, the sports reporter without pay, filling in for Eric Wilson. It's the Sports Arena live on a Monday night. Let's get the whole crew in the building. We got the Queen of Hoops, Megan Price, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Shear, mouth of the South, mouth of the West,
Kyrie
Mr.
Irving to the Heat. No, I'm just kidding.
He's still talking about the Heat. I don't even know if to call this guy a guest or part of the whatever it is. The big guard himself back in the building. Tyree, what's going on?
Hey, hold on. I need a
nice
better
to meet
intro.
you. Who are you?
You gave everybody a great intro.
He's not the intro.
All right, you
Who's
know
this
what?
guy?
Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina, I'm rocking his brand. Say what? Say it again. Met him in person. He about 6'4", 250, Mr. Tyree. Ooh, I hate this guy, man. What's going on?
Yeah.
How everybody doing, man?
Good, man. Looks like you guys had a good time.
We did, man. It was amazing. We'll tap into that later. But yeah, you know what, man? We got a lot going on tonight. Got a jam-packed show. A lot of NBA talk because as of now, the Golden State Warriors are the 2022 NBA champs. So I'm going to start with the Queen of Hoops. 2022, 2018, 2017, 2015, 4 championships, 6 finals appearances in 8 years. Is it safe to call the Golden State Warriors of this era a dynasty?
Absolutely. Give them their own documentary. They've definitely made some huge accomplishments. Like you said, 6 finals appearances for the trio, and they've won. They have won every series when the trio has played every single game. So, and they set the wins record by a trio in the finals. So, definitely give them a documentary. Call them a dynasty. They here.
Too early for that, John Shear, or no?
Come on, man. Like, yeah, I mean, whenever they were together with KD, before KD, that was all dynasty. This team right now, what they got right now, this ain't no dynasty team. That's a different team than what we had in 2015 and all that. It's a way different team. The team now is not a dynasty team. Draymond Green keeps running his lips. We're tired of hearing this guy. Like, you did nothing for this team. You putting up, 7 points, and you acting like you're a finals MVP. Go shut your mouth. Like, I'm tired of hearing Draymond Green. He blads his lips all the time. Clay's running women over during the parade. Like, I'm already tired of Golden State. Like, get him out of here.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm upset they won, but man, they get annoying. Like, jeez, except Curry. I love Curry.
Tell us how you really feel, John. I know I can count on Mike to give me an extensive, well thought out answer, because I don't know what's going on with Skip Bayless down there, John Shear. But so we 1-1 right now, Mike. Megan says they're a dynasty. John says no way. Is this go? Can we call them a dynasty?
Yeah, I think the one aspect that neither one of them brought up, Raylan, is granted they had the injuries, and I know John's saying KD, they still won before KD. They learned how to win before he got there. Yes, getting KD, I'm not going to argue. That definitely pushes it up over the way top there. But you have all those injuries. You go to the basement of the NBA. You don't even get to the bubble. And you're going to sit there and say that it's not a dynasty. I mean, the fact that they
tanked that year to go and get a top pick. Stop blabbing.
The fact that they went from the highest to highs, the lowest to lows, and figured out what free agents to bring in, doing it the right way. Yeah, the core 3 are drafted, but of course it's a dynasty. I mean, you go to 6 championships in 8 years, and again, if certain other maybe teams or players would have done this, we'd be saying, oh, it's a dynasty. So yeah, I mean, look, Clay definitely kept a lot of receipts. I mean, when you're injured for that long and you were on the top of the hill and you get back and your team's still looked at as, okay, well, we'll see what they can do. Well, we saw when they all 3 played together. Yeah, Draymond points-wise didn't obviously have the best finals. We saw that, but him flapping his gums, as John would like to say, definitely gets the other team going and definitely works. So, but
no, I'm talking about after the finals. Like, this man don't stop running his lips.
You're going to sit there and win that much. You're going to sit there and win that much, and you're going to say that it's not a dynasty. Of course, it's a dynasty. Look what Steve Kerr's done with that team, and somebody like Andrew Wiggins, who they identified, they got. It's definitely a dynasty.
And Kerr has 9 titles as a player and a coach. I mean, come on now.
Talk to us, big guard. 2-1. Dynasty or no dynasty?
Too easy of a question, man. Of course, they're a dynasty. If Miami Dolphins or Miami Heat had won, John would be on the show right now with no
Oh,
shirt,
yeah, I'd run my lips. big
drinking a
time.
bottle of champagne. So, I mean, if you don't like what somebody, I mean, I'm being real. If you don't like what somebody do when they win, stop them from winning.
No, I'm not upset they
John
won.
will
It's just,
never live down taking his shirt
it's
off.
just
He will
Draymond
never
runs
live
his
it down.
lips when he didn't even do anything.
I mean,
like after the
but
finals, like
that's Draymond. The one thing I will say about him is he's always ran his lips. You know what I mean? Ever since he's been in the starting lineup and they've been winning, he's always ran his lips. Now, granted, it's gotten worse, but I mean, hey, he did tell KD, and you got to give him credit because he did tell KD, we don't need you. And everybody in media, well, 90% of people in media gave him a hard time. How you going to say that to KD? I mean, he was right. You know what I mean? Everybody gave him a hard time. And you have to give the Golden State Warriors front office credit. They put up a stat saying that they're the first team since like 1978 to have 8 players on the championship team that they all drafted. Even the finals in general, we have to give some credit to both organizations. I would have to say, depending on how you look at it, the top 4 players, the top 3 players on the Boston Celtics were all drafted by the Celtics, and the top 4 players on the Golden State Warriors are all drafted by the Golden State. Well, if you take out Wiggins, my fault. We're drafted by the Golden State Warriors. So, I mean, that's homegrown at its finest. For the last couple of years, I mean, excluding probably the Milwaukee championship, it's been, teams with multiple superstars. So, I mean, to see a team really with one superstar, and I don't know why people is always talking about Klay, but to me, he's not nowhere near Steph. He ain't messing with Steph. I think this finals cemented that.
Come on, he's coming off of 2 years injured. I think we got to give him some time. I'm not going to sit there and say he's a superstar, but if he was on a different team, he'd be the star.
But I have to also look at this now, Megan. Now, granted, I know KD was here then, but in the finals when they swept Cleveland, 24 points, 20, 10, 10. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, the finals before that, when they lost to Cleveland, he had 9 points one game.
Somebody really say Andrew Wiggins better than Klay
Okay,
Thompson? What kind of stupid comment is that?
I think at this point in time, I think you can argue that he is.
What?
You have to talk about what he contributed to get to that point. Not just those finals. Like, he contributed to get to those finals. Regular season does matter at times.
Yeah.
Like for them to get to the position where they're at, Klay absolutely played a role. I'm not ready to say. I'm not ready to say he's not.
I'm not saying he didn't play. I'm not saying he didn't play a role, Megan. But what I'm saying is, like, you would have people, and I'm not saying y'all. I'm just saying you would have people in the past saying that it's like Batman, I don't know, Mega Man, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, is Batman and Robin for sure, and Robin is maybe Andrew Wiggins at this point in time.
Okay, wait, but
at this point in time, and but you know why? Because what Klay is known for is being an elite defender, and we haven't seen him come back off of that injury yet fully. Like, he's only played half a season. That's the difference between him and Steph. Yeah, he has an excellent jump shot. Yes, he's half of the Splash Brothers, and that's what you know him for. But the difference maker with Klay is that defense. And coming off those 2 severe injuries like that, we're probably not ever going to see him get to that level again.
Yeah, but time out. Raylin, you said a few weeks ago Steph's the one guy on that team when we were talking about, not the only one, but he creates a shot. It's not Klay's game to sit there and dribble and create his own shot. And and Tyree, to your point, in this day and age, since everybody either says, oh, this guy's this or that, okay, pre-injuries, find me a better catch and shoot player than Klay Thompson.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you're picking on him. I'm just saying, to Raylan's point a few weeks ago, he was the best catch and shoot player in the league, and it wasn't even close.
But why are you? Time out.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Ray, before you interject. But why is he able to catch and shoot? Because who's drawing the double team? Who are they trapping off the screen, Mike, for him to be open?
I'm not picking on Steph. I'm not saying he's better than Steph. I'm just saying he's the best catch and shoot guy. When you can put up 60 taking less than 20 dribbles, that's pretty sick in the NBA. I don't care who you play. It's the freaking NBA. So I'm not saying he's better than Steph. I don't.
Licking his chops.
No, I would just say this much because he said he was playing it off a comment I made, right? Like, I don't know how you can be the best something in the NBA and you're not the best at that on your team, right? Like, Steph's not just a shooter, but he's still the best catch and shoot shooter. He's the best off the dribble shooter. He's the best standstill. He's the best every kind of shooter you can be, which is why he's the GOAT of all shooters. But like, man, listen, for me with Klay Thompson, I just think that he had so many times where he disappeared and nobody just ever talks about it because they overcame it, right? Like, Mike, I'll ask you this question. And I think I might have said this on. I know I just
like, y'all know there's more to the stat line than points, right?
Yeah, like people only say that for people that don't score points, though. Like you can't win a basketball game unless
defense and changing the direction of the game. Those things matter.
Like, they only matter for people that don't score points. Like you can't win a game unless you score more points than the other team, right? Even if you have a bunch of role players that do all of their jobs. Like the Celtics, like if you look at this finals, the Celtics didn't play horrible defensively. They were doing enough to stay in games, and then they couldn't get buckets down the stretch. Tatum didn't do what we're gonna get to Tatum later, right? You just gotta have guys that
I'm gonna get to them later.
You look at the greatest players to ever play this game, the guys that have won championships, the leaders, right? The Michael Jordans, the Kobe's, the Shaqs, the LeBron Jameses, Steph Curry's, Kevin Durant's. Like, those guys go get buckets. You have to have a guy like that to win. Yeah, you need your role players, but like for Klay Thompson to be a guy who's widely considered one of the greatest shooters to ever play this game, he goes missing on offense way too much. Like if you look at the 2015 championship team, people will say Klay Thompson was the second best player and he's a star. And go look at what he did in the finals.
You said what year?
2015. When he scored 21 and 34 in games 1 and 2, and then commenced to score 14, 9, 12, and 5, and nobody would never talk about it. And when Steph Curry scored 23, they say he played bad. But Klay's supposed to be a star. I think Klay's a very good player. I just think a lot of times he gets put in the air that he probably shouldn't. And I think a lot of that came from people wanting to bring Steph down a notch. Like, he can't be this good. This guy's just – no, he's not just as good. Like, Steph is here. Klay is wherever he's at. Right.
I think there's a difference between great and greatest. I don't hear a lot of people say, "Oh, he's the greatest shooter," or "He's a greatest shooter." He's a great shooter. Period.
Who, Klay? He top 5. He top 5. Just shooting. It's a 4-man conversation. It's Steph, Klay, Reggie, and Ray. That's the conversation.
Yep.
Klay is easily. Yeah,
and those two.
I don't hear people call him the greatest shooter, though.
I just think the thing that sets Steph apart is the ability. You look at those 4 guys. When you think about all 4 of those guys, you think about catching and shooting, right? But when you think about Steph, it's just his handle. Like, imagine if Reggie Miller can handle the ball, right? Because most time when we seen Reggie Miller shooting the ball, it was coming off the pick, pin down, curl. Same thing with Ray Allen, except for like early on in his career. But early on in his career, he couldn't shoot the same way he shoot, you know what I mean?
He was dunking a little more.
Yeah, he was getting to the rack and doing that. So
yeah.
I think that's just what makes Steph like OD. He could just do it in so many different ways.
So Megan, I'm gonna come to you first because we're gonna shift here. We don't spend a lot of time. I mean, all this stuff gonna kind of intertwine because it's all NBA Finals recap. Megan, you mentioned that Steve Kerr has 9 championships, 5 as a player, 4 as a coach. But let's talk about him as a coach, right? You have your Red Auerbachs, your Pat Rileys, your Phil Jacksons. Where does this put Steve Kerr in the pantheon of all-time great coaches? Megan, before you start, I did not mean to alleviate Greg Popovich. I don't want to hear it. I don't want you to come for me. That wasn't intentional. It wasn't. Pop is
gonna kill you.
Pop is there.
It's fine. It's fine because y'all knew I was going to incorporate him, so it's fine. I think this definitely puts Steve Kerr at probably top 7, top 8, in my opinion. I mean, there's still some work to be done. As far as like winning as coaches, we know Pop got that with 1344. Pat Riley got 1210, and Phil Jackson got 1155. Difference there. Phil Jackson got 11 chips. Pat Riley got 5 chips. Pop got 5. So, there's still some work to be done to necessarily pass a few more on there. But top 7, Steve Kerr's definitely there.
Did you count Pat Riley's chips while he was also not the coach, while he was also constructing these teams as well? Because he's done a pretty damn good job at that.
Calm down.
I'm just saying, you with Greg Popovich, me with Pat Riley. I'm just saying.
I mean, you can make your
for
case
my
for
money,
Pat, but no, we don't count his championship.
For my money, I would rather have Eric Spoelstra career-wise than Steve Kerr, because I think Steve Kerr, as great of a job as he's done, he also inherited this team from Mark Jackson. So let's not forget that.
Spoelstra inherited that team as well.
Well, inherited what team?
Wait, but John.
And then he went and got his team back to the finals in the bubble.
LBJ.
Get out of here, man.
LBJ. How much coaching did he really have to do? Now, don't get me wrong, because Spoelstra is on.
He managed those egos.
Hold on. He's the only one that is on pace to have the same type of win record as Greg Popovich. So no knock to him whatsoever. He's the only coach that's on pace for that, with that same type of winning percentage. He's the only one. So definitely no knock to him whatsoever. But come on now. He had
anybody that can manage LeBron James,
LBJ, and Chris Bosh. Come on.
Anybody that can manage those egos to 4 straight finals and winning 2 of them.
Chris Bosh doesn't have an ego. Chris Bosh doesn't have
There was a lot of ego amongst those guys. Bosh had a lot of ego coming out of Toronto. He was the man. Come on, man. Like, don't forget that. Bosh.
I highly disagree. I think
man. You forget about Bosh.
I never
think
thought
he's a really humble human being.
We're in the same conversation. Somebody is saying a coach inherited a great situation and then rebuttals it with Eric Spoelstra. Like,
I'd rather have him than Steve Kerr.
Listen, so I'm gonna save my take.
What you mean?
I'm gonna go into this right now. So we're gonna act like Steve Kerr, that y'all say inherited a great team. You can go look at the numbers at what he turned Golden State into when he got there. Like, they weren't even a good offensive team. He turned them into an all-time great offensive team. And you go, oh, he just inherited that. Then he gets KD and y'all go, oh, it don't take much to coach that. And then he loses KD and everybody think Golden State is dead. And he rebuilds this team with G Leaguers, with guys like Gary Payton, with guys like Otto Porter, who was a top 3 pick and people thought he fell off. Andrew Wiggins, people was ready to write him off. And he rebuilds this team with those guys with a half of a version of Klay Thompson. And you're saying come on, stop it, John.
I didn't knock him. I didn't say he was a terrible coach. I never said anything like that. I just said I would prefer the job that Spoelstra's done over the job that Kerr's done. But that doesn't knock either one in the job either one's done.
But what has
done a
Spoelstra
fantastic job.
What has Spoelstra done in lieu of the big 3?
Did you not see him get this team who nobody believed would get back to the finals in 2020? Then he got them to the Eastern Conference Finals, 1 game away from getting back to the finals. Come on, man. Don't do that. You know better than that. Stop it. Hold on. Put me on screen with this guy. Just me and him. I'm about to light him on fire. Put him on screen. You're the same damn guy that made the case that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown got to 4 Eastern Conference Finals, and you made that spiel all year long. Oh, wow. 3 years, and the 1 year they didn't play together because Jaylen Brown was hurt. But all the others, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. But now you're saying participation trophies. Don't you dare give me that when you use that argument against us all playoffs long. Nonsense. Get him out of here. Throw him out.
So we're just going to, as John would say, context matters. We're talking about people saying Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum aren't good together.
No, but
they made it to 3 Eastern Conference Finals. No, because you're comparing them to a guy with 4 championships. You're literally comparing apples and oranges. You're saying that Eric Spoelstra is on the same level as Steve Kerr, a guy who just won another championship, his 4th one and 6 finals appearances in 8 years, and you're talking to me about he got him back to the finals. My question was, what has Eric Spoelstra done in lieu of the big 3, the team that was handed to him? 3 friends that was at the Olympics and said, bro, we want to play together. It don't matter who the coach was. Right, he built the Heat team to do what? Because Golden State fell apart. Golden State won 5 games 2 years ago, and that team was rebuilt.
That team tanked, man. Come on, get out of here.
Kerr just won a championship with Andrew Wiggins as the 2nd best player on the floor. Let that sink in, John. Andrew Wiggins.
Wasn't he a top pick?
There you go.
Come on, man.
Hey, hold on 1 second, yo. What is Cortland talking about in the joint? He's saying what is Clay's best player for? Where he
no, hey, they got their own thing going on.
But I'm saying no. But hold on 1 second. Never mind.
He's talking about
they got their own thing going.
No, I'm just saying he's talking about
the initial question was, where does this put Steve Kerr in the pantheon of all-time great coaches?
I mean, I definitely say it puts them up there. I'm with you on that. I mean, look, Mark Jackson started to bring that team to a certain point. They were a consistent. They were I guess you could say a lock for the Western Conference playoffs, but we didn't think of them as finals. And whatever reason why Mark Jackson left, all the stuff they gave us sense. Steve Kerr came in, and yes, he expanded on what Mark Jackson did. But to your point, really, yeah, he also got him to score points. The front office, identifying players. Yes, if you're going to draft well, they drafted very well. But you have to coach these guys. It's like the whole thing everybody used to say about Phil Jackson. Oh, you inherit these superstar teams. Well, guess what? When you inherited the Bulls, okay, yeah, they were a playoff team with Jordan, but they also learned how to they started to learn how to win, and then obviously win championships. So I'm not going to say he's up at that Phil Jackson level, but it's not a stretch, like you said, to put him in the top 5, top 7 all time, considering what these coaches have done and the fact that he stayed with that team. And like you said, I mean, 5 wins, 15 wins because of the injuries a few years ago, and tanking or not, teams took pleasure in beating up on them because they didn't have their team. So look, what Steve Kerr has done, and people can say, oh, just when they're healthy. No, he expanded it after Mark Jackson was let go and he took over. You go to 6 and 8 years and you win 4. I mean, come on, especially in this day and age with everybody like you guys are all saying the Miami Heat teams, right, Lynn? Like everybody wanted to play with their boys, this and that. And, Steph Curry was linked to maybe, after the first or the second trial season, leaving and this and that. And then he signs. I think he pretty much signed his extension to get all the noise out of there, going to play with, whatever it was, going to play with LeBron or maybe, going to wherever Durant was. Like they stuck together, and Steve Kerr, the coach, still has to keep all these people together, just like Phil Jackson did. Whether Kobe and Shaq hated each other, it doesn't matter. Those championships they won, they got to finals. So, and I'm not saying they did. I'm saying all the like Ty said, media stuff gets out there. Who's making what up? Who wants clickbait? All that stuff. But Steve Kerr, yeah, can he coach? Do I think Eric Spoelstra can coach a level? Sure, but I'm not taking him over Steve Kerr.
Talk to me, Tyree.
I got him top 10. If he wins next year, because if he can get it back to back again, I think honestly it puts him in the top 5. And I mean, another thing is people like saying he inherited such a great team. Let's not act like, when Phil went to the Lakers, I mean, granted, he walked into Kobe and Shaq. Even when he took over the Bulls, I mean, he took over freaking Michael Jordan. So I mean, it's not like he took over, I mean, Craig Hodges and Pete Myers as his best. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just be honest now. But I mean, but to me, I think you have to give him credit because we look at so many situations where you got other teams that have more talent and they're not winning. We look at the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie, Kevin Durant, like you're talking about, top tier talent in the league, and they can't win. I mean, they've been in the first round. What is it, 2 years in a row, and can't get out. So I mean, we look at that, So I mean, I think Kerr deserves his credit. People don't want to give him his credit because people like Mark Jackson, and I like Mark Jackson too. But you have to give Kerr his credit, man. And like another thing you have to give credit to is like their staff. These guys keep getting better. A lot of people say Andrew Wiggins was even though he was averaging dang near 20 points for his career, they said he was a bust. You get Otto Porter Jr. He got paid all that money in Washington. People said he wasn't no good. He comes out there, he produces. Gary Payton Jr. bounces around in the G League. They cut him twice, the Warriors. He finds a way, him and his staff, they find a way to get production out of guys that nobody else is really checking for. Now you got guys like Looney, who's about to get a big payday or a payday from somebody, right? And Poole's going to get one down the road. So to me, they keep producing talent, and we still haven't seen what Kuminga done, and we haven't even seen Wiseman touch the court really. So I mean, he got 4 titles with the opportunity to probably get. I think they can get at least 2 more It just depends on how things go.
John, I want to come back to you for a second because you kind of introduced this whole he inherited to the conversation, right? But you started the conversation talking about who?
Eric Spoelstra.
You was talking about Riley before him, right? Because you asked us
we were talking about Riley and
He didn't inherit. Did Riley inherit a great team?
I don't think so.
Riley inherited a team that had just won a championship a year ago.
No. Yeah, but that team, are you talking about the 06 team? Because that team was made up of all guys.
No. We're talking about all of Pat Riley's greatness, right? Like Pat Riley is more so known for the Showtime Lakers. They won a championship in 1980. He becomes the head coach in 82 and wins the championship.
Right.
So let's not and then he goes on and wins championships with Magic and Kareem. Phil gets Mike. Like most great coaches are associated with great players. But again, there's something about both these guys we talked about, man. Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. People don't want to believe Kerr can coach. People don't want to believe Curry can be this great.
I never said he couldn't coach.
But you're saying that like he's only good because he inherited.
Knock him. I never knocked him. I just said I think that Eric Spoelstra is a better coach, but that doesn't take away from anything that either one of them has done. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that either one of them is like the 200th best coach in league history. You know what I mean? Like they're both great coaches and both probably go to the Hall of Fame when they're said and done. When all is said and done. You know what I mean? Like both have done great things in this league, so it takes nothing away. Just I prefer Spoelstra's career over Kerr's career. That's all.
I just think that it's a little harder to win with talent than people realize, right? Because they could have easily, and I say this because, at the time, a lot of people, KD, he comes there, he's a top, 5 player. Steph's a top 5 player, right? He gets there. We've seen a lot of situations like this that don't work. We've seen guys come in. And it just doesn't work. We've seen the Lakers build a team with, when we got Steve Nash, even though Steve Nash is a little older, right? But, we had Steve Nash, Dwight Howard. We seen that. It didn't well, that, I mean, that was because I think that was because of injuries. That was because Karl Malone, he got hurt. But,
you got Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Steve Nash, all them.
But you can't act like some of them guys want a little longer than 2. But, but what I'm saying is that we've seen situations where guys come in and it doesn't work. Like it doesn't work. There's not enough basketballs, but for him to be able to figure that out and move it around and everybody was honestly, I felt like everybody was still happy when KD was there, except for KD.
And maybe Draymond.
Right, but that was my
Draymond point. Was happy. Draymond
he had some things to say about KD when KD left.
Tyree, that was my point.
He called him a B to his face.
When you say inherit, though, that's my point because the great coaches have to be able to coach all those egos. Like even when like Raylan's saying when Riley gets the Showtime late, I mean the start of, but still like the Showtime Lakers and like what he's leaving his own imprint. Like and with Phil Jackson, everybody says this, dude. The man was obviously a phenomenal basketball coach, but you have to manage those egos. I mean, in The Last Dance, that was one of the famous things. Like when Jordan talked about, like, why do I want a coach that's going to take the ball out of my hands? And Phil Jackson sat his ass down and said, do you want to win scoring titles or do you want to win championships? And he still got his, but yet he learned how to win championships within the team that Phil Jackson wanted. So, it was no surprise, obviously, what Phil did with the Lakers when he got there because – you have to have that kind of coaching ego to manage those egos, but also keep everybody focused and involved. And again, I'm not saying that the Warrior. I mean, all great players are going to have egos. That's why they're at the level that they're at. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Phil did that. Steve Kerr does that. I'm not saying Spoelstra doesn't do it. And to Megan's point, like if we're going to talk about active coaches right now, cool. I'll take Pop over any coach you mentioned because I'm figuring with championship level teams, I figure Pop will get it done.
Also, Pop never really had to deal with egos like these other coaches. I'm just saying.
It's not the Spurs way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just saying, once Pop had to deal with egos like, Kawhi Leonard, then it got a little bit hairy. I'm just saying.
The ego he had to deal with was Uncle Dennis, who magically became a manager. Nah, John, don't do this. Don't do this.
You said Dennis. Oh, you talking about Kawhi's? Oh, yeah, his uncle.
Yeah.
A career over for Cortland in these comments, man. Chuck Daly, and Larry Brown, and Lenny Wilkins. Career over for Cortland, man.
I never
And also
understood.
Pop did it
Hold
one.
on. But one thing I never understood is, like, what's up with like people hold, and maybe I'm just young, right? Younger. People hold Larry Brown to such a high regard
because he made a phrase cool. He made play basketball the right way cool. Like he made that a thing.
Cool?
That's not true.
No, listen.
He did. No, that is true. That is true. That is true. But
I get Phil, I get R back. I mean, even though I never seen him coach before, but granted, they was winning.
His win record.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Granted, they win. Pop. Lenny Wilkins got the most wins, but I think he also had the most losses for a long time too.
Wait, who got the most wins? No.
At one point, Lenny Wilkins. At one point, okay, yeah. Don't act like Pop ain't just pass him. Like, don't act like that. At one point, Lenny Wilkins had the most wins and the most losses.
Ray Lynn, to Larry Brown's point, though, look, I'm when people say
Larry Brown made a point on this show.
No, to your point about Larry Brown, I'm just saying, like, when he didn't stay, his whole thing is never staying anywhere long enough. But when he was there, teams were winning at high clips. And again, we all talk about final success. Where do you limit it? I mean, obviously, if you go back through the history of the NBA, there's no way you're not putting Red Auerbach up there. Just like when people don't understand, like Bill Russell, like I get it. We didn't see him play, but I don't care how many teams are in the league. You dominated, and Bill Russell is the ultimate champion. I mean, you can say that's. I don't care if that's when the league started. So you play who's in front of you. So. But for Larry Brown to get those wins, and yeah, like Tyree just said, Lenny Wilkins, I mean, yeah, he may have had the most losses, but that dude was a very, very good coach. So again,
real quick, Mike.
In the top 10, I don't know, but I'm just
saying, Mike, we got to stop passing out misinformation, man. When you go, Larry Brown went, every place he went, he was winning at a high clip. That man coached 25, 30 years in the NBA and had 850 win seasons. Let's not do that whole he was winning at a high clip. Like he had a few okay seasons.
Right, but I'm saying his whole coaching career. I'm including college in that too. So that's what I'm saying.
NBA,
when they go in the Hall of Fame, they don't separate pro and college.
Yeah, well, that's stupid.
Why? It's the basketball.
Because it's the NBA. Give me the NBA Hall of Fame. I don't care about no college.
Like so listen, man. I'm gonna address this comment too, right? So if we like he mentioned Chuck Daly earlier, and now he's talking about Rudy Tomjanovich. We only know Rudy Tomjanovich for 2 years. 94 and 95. Other than that, his whole career as a coach is a bust. Chuck Daly, 2 years. The 88 and 89 Pistons or 89, 90 Pistons were that whole bad boy era. Other than that, his career is pretty lackluster. We just watched with our own eyes Steve Kerr win his 4th championship in a span of 8 years, and you talking about how he sneak past these guys with you. Steve Kerr has as many championships as a coach as Rudy Tomjanovich and Chuck Daly combined. What are we doing here? Like what are we doing here? Career over for you again, Courtney.
Add Larry Brown on that too. Add Larry Brown on that too.
No, he got one.
No, that would get him 5. My fault.
Yeah. So we gonna stay right here in this same vein. And once again, Queen Hoops, I'm coming to you first. We've been seeing the conversation kind of float around if Steph wins. I kind of want to ask, is he top 10? You can spend it any kind of way you want to, but what is this championship? And of course, the Finals MVP to go with it. What does it do for Steph's legacy, and how do you now view him all time? You can put that in a number. You can just talk about his impact, however you want to spend it. Steph Curry, this Finals, now what?
I think there was a lot of questions about his legacy, just because when KD joined the team, a lot of people felt like that kind of tarnished his legacy. So I feel like this answered quite a few haters, just with the fact of they were able to do it once again without KD. And no matter however John wants to spin it, like KD's not there. They didn't need him this time. Whether you like Draymond or not, he did have an impact. I'm a thorough believer in that there's more to the stat line than just points. But
you're the same person last week that ended the show by asking or by telling us that.
Go ahead, Megan.
Okay. Okay. As far as Steph, I think he's top 10, maybe 11, just because everybody's list is a little bit different. But I definitely think he's top 10. He's 10, 9, 11, right in that area. Everybody's list is a little bit different. But Steph, he's one of those players that changed the game. We all know he changed the game, 3-point shooting. So he's somebody that reminded me of Kobe or of Jordan. Like when I first started seeing this guy play, I was like, you know what? He's special. I got excited to watch him play. And he changed the whole game of basketball, this era of basketball. So yeah, top 10. I got him at 10 personally.
You got so much to say, John. Talk to us about it.
She ended the show last week by saying, they're about to get rid of Draymond. I think that this is the end of the Draymond era after this season.
Okay,
she's the same person, and then she says Draymond is important. It's beyond stats. Come on, you got to be consistent.
John, don't start about consistency because you're the king of backpedaling, and I didn't backpedal on that at all.
I follow up with what I said.
Anyway, but and I will say this: I felt like Draymond was a movable piece, but that championship, that win that they got out of this series, saved his job.
So in a week, you change your stance.
How is that changing my stance?
Well, you think they're going to keep him? Because they won a championship?
Because they won a championship, absolutely.
Okay. Like they was going to lose that championship.
If they lost that championship, Draymond was the movable piece, absolutely. How am I changing anything I said?
That they weren't going to lose that championship.
Bye, John.
Turn over Jason Tatum. Come on, man.
John, can you answer the question for me, sir? Steph Curry, his legacy. What did this championship do?
Of course it affects his legacy. Like anybody that says, no, it doesn't mess with his legacy.
I mean, we know it does. I'm asking you, though, in what way? You as a fan, you as a sports journalist, what did this championship do for his legacy to you? Does it move him all time? Does it now what?
I guess it depends on where you consider him before this championship happened. Like, where did you have him? I don't think he's top 10, like, player of all time, because I don't think he does enough. The scoring is great. The handles are great. But it's not like this guy is a real point guard, right? It's not like this guy is like an amazing distributor of the basketball and he's throwing dimes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not like he's like Magic Johnson. People are saying, well, does this put him above Magic Johnson? No, it doesn't put him above Magic Johnson. Like he's right outside the top 10, but he ain't, like, to me, he ain't close to guys like Wilt. He ain't close to Magic. He ain't close to Kobe. That's not a knock on him. It's just I think that shows the level of greatness of those guys that are in the top 10, how amazing those guys were. But Curry's amazing too. I just don't think he's cracked top 10. I think that there's got to be more to his game than just, I mean, the shooting is obviously he's the greatest shooter we've ever seen, but I still think there's got to be more to this guy if we're going to put him in with Wilt. Like you would look at Wilt's stats, look at what Kobe and MJ did, guys like that. I don't think Steph Curry did anything like that, but it still doesn't take away from him. That's just how I feel. But I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment just because he just won. Then I'm like, yeah, let's put this guy top 5. Like, I don't want to do that. I think that that's just lazy. You know what I mean?
Tyree, you look like you chomping at the bit over there. Talk to me.
My man said he don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. It's tough. It's tough not to be a prisoner of the moment. We just seen him win. We talking about somebody. Now, granted, he's changing for a good way, but I also feel like at the youth level, he's changing for a bad way, right? But he's changed the NBA. 3 is more than 2. I mean, we talking about somebody that when you talk about guys that's changed the game, right? When you talk about, LeBron, you talk about Jordan. I mean, I don't know anybody in this.
Kobe.
I don't know anybody in this era. I'm talking about this era right now that's changed the game more than him. I gotta go Steph top 10, man, just for a lot of different reasons. The dude could play, man. I mean, you got to give him credit. This run, we seen it. 30 something here, 43 here. Just giving it to you any kind of way. And then in the one game where he didn't give you a whole lot of points, he still gave you assists, and they was face guarding him. And when them face guarding him, Andrew Wiggins was able to get to the basket at will. Got to put him in that top 10, man. He's
Mike Caratanudo. I know you're not happy about this run because what you really wanted to see was them versus your Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals, and you and John just knew we was gonna get that matchup. But all jokes aside, no shots at your Phoenix Suns, but just Steph Curry, like in a vacuum this season. Again, Megan kind of touched on it when he had KD. People started to, he had KD, he's the number 2, and then he didn't win Finals MVP in 15. But throughout all of that adversity, He's now led a team with three different, the three have always been there, him, Clay, and Draymond. But the rest of the squad, this is kind of the third cast he's won a championship with. 15 and 16 was one way, 17, 18, 19, those finals was another way. And then you got this group, the common denominator is who and what. Talk to me, John. What is this? I mean, Mike, what does this do for his legacy?
I do think it's huge. And I'm with Tyree on that. Like, yeah, I mean, at the youth level, everybody thinks they can shoot in rhythm from 30 feet, which obviously they can't. But no, I mean, and that's what Eric and I had this conversation. I'm like, man, when I started seeing him drill those shots, I mean, even like you're saying, Raylan, on that first championship run, I'm like, that's like stepping across half court and being in rhythm. It's a big difference. Everybody who's played basketball knows, and just chucking it from half court, and you can actually be in rhythm and sink those shots. I mean, it's sick. So yeah, people that have changed games that have obviously been generational players like we're talking about. And yeah, I mean, John does bring up a key point. Don't be a prisoner of the moment. But for his career, I mean, and he moves without the ball. Yes, we all love to see the threes. We know he has the record. But when you look at him, if someone's going to really just cut off the 3-point line, he is moving. He has the float game. He has, a mid-range game, a float game. He'll dump the ball off. He'll get the assist. He'll do whatever they need him to do now. And I think in his career, he's grown through it. But within doing that, it's kind of like the whole Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan thing. Like, you're still going to get yours and score. You're a great shooter. I mean, a lot of the shots he hit in the finals, whether he was fouled or not, somebody's in his face, even like I'm talking about with the movement. But yeah, I mean, I think that for somebody that changes the game, and we're not saying a flash in the pan, Raylan, we're saying over his whole career and like generational, like he's been, for me, it's hard not to put him in the top 10. I mean, even if he's at 10, like Megan's saying too, to me, it's tough because you think you can be guarding him. You think oh no, he can't hit this or he can't get that, takes a few dribbles and just throws one in your face. So, I mean, with his career, and yeah, the KD stuff, KD's there. I mean, they also beat a team that KD was on up 3-1, and, different team, whoever he had, I get it. I understand that, but still, KD came in there and won championships. Yes, he was a huge part of it. So I look at it like he is top 10 because when you, like Megan said, when you change the game like he did shooting, I mean, it's just a whole, to your guy, Magic Johnson, I'll leave you on this, Raylan, a 6'9" point guard back then. People are like, what are you doing? Like, big men have to just sit down there on the block. I'm not saying Magic had the best handles of all time. He had sick handles, but he was a 6'9" point guard that saw the floor, that was doing stuff smaller guards were doing, and he changed the game. So yeah, Steph definitely changed the game, being a smaller player and with what he can do. So yeah, I say if you put him at 10, I have no issues with that.
I will say this much, and I'm a bit of a homer. Like, I'm a huge Steph Curry fan, regardless of where you got him. And I just said this on another show. We as fans get so hyped up and want to make our arguments. Like, we argue LeBron and Mike. We're really talking about whether you have him first, second, or third, right? Like, out of thousands and thousands of players that play the game, when people start mentioning you amongst 10, 11, and 12, what difference do it really make? Like, if I have Steph at 8 and you have him at 12, are either one of us really tripping? We talking about a couple of guys that are in this conversation, and he is clearly in that conversation. And what I think the biggest problem fans have with Steph Curry is almost like they can't fathom he can't be this good, right? Like, because when you look at the rest of those guys, the bigs, Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Tim, those guys are physically imposing. And then, like you said, Magic is a 6'9" guard. And then you got Mike and Kobe, athletic freaks. And then there's Steph Curry, right? It's like, how does he find himself being mentioned with these guys, even as far as being the best player in the league? Like, people can't wrap their mind around. No way. This small, frail 6'3" guy shooting 3-pointers is the best. He's really that good. He's really this great, regardless where you got him. Look, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to flip this on his head and go to the other side of this. And we got a special guest coming in. Y'all stay tuned to see who it is. Listen, y'all saw it. Say What, Say It Again. Tuesday nights, Facebook Live, 8:30. They're not doing the show tomorrow, but they will be back. And since I plugged Say What, let's bring y'all see the shirt. Say What, Say It Again. Let's bring the host himself in first, Mr. Tyree. Y'all see what it is. John Shear back in the building. Mike Carrots Noodle back in the building. And we're gonna bring our special guest, man. Listen, I did the ESPN Symposiums week, had a chance to meet this brother live and in the flesh. Everything he is online, he's that in person. Mr. Danny Thompson, welcome to the show, sir.
Good evening, fellas, and good evening, Megan, when she gets back in the room. I'm glad you guys called me to want me to be part of the show tonight. So let's get it going.
You said we didn't want you. Never mind. I'm gonna start with you, Danny. I know you've heard us talking a lot of NBA finals. We kind of did a whole lot of talking about Golden State when me and his brother met in person. We had plenty to talk about Golden State and Steph Curry. But let's flip this on his head, and it's a very simple question. When you look at Boston and how things, obviously it didn't end the way they wanted to. You make it all the way to the finals. You're competing for a championship. Young team, but is this season a failure based on how it ended? Talk to me.
It's not a failure. It's not close to being a failure. A first-year head coach getting them to the finals after all the failure, you want to call failures, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and not getting there. Udoka's first year, they were 500. Back in January, they wanted the coach fired. They wanted Tatum and Brown traded for each other or traded at some point. And they ended up getting on fire and getting to the finals. And to be honest with you, they had a chance to win some of these games in the series. They should have won game 4. They should have won game 5. They had good opportunities to win those games. And it's not a failure whatsoever. I think it's a successful season.
All right, I'm coming to you, John Shear.
We got that Atlanta Falcons choke going on.
Shots fired. Look at him. Talk to me, John Shear, about the Boston Celtics. How do you, when you put this in the vacuum, how do you sum their season up, John?
Turnovers. That was the big thing. They were middle of the road regular season turnovers. Golden State was the second worst team in the league turnover-wise for an offense in the regular season. Still, they found a way to beat the Boston Celtics. I said it last week. The talent overcame. The Boston Celtics couldn't. They don't have the talent to be able to have those turnovers against the Golden State and still win. You got Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson, you got guys like that, and you turn the ball over, you can still win. Boston needs to be able to take better care of the ball. You can't be middle of the road and turning the ball over. You got to be better than that in the regular season. If they don't turn the ball over as much against Miami, they probably win it in 6. If they don't turn the ball over as much against Golden State, they probably win this series. That was their bugaboo, is the turnovers. And every team has their Achilles heel. That's the Boston Celtics problem. They got there's nothing to hang your head on. It's just Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they got to stop getting their pockets picked, man, because that's what it is. They just keep bouncing the ball off their toes, or they keep getting their pockets picked, and then fast break points. It happened against Miami, it happened against Golden State. It happened against all these teams they played. That was their one Achilles heel, but that's a big Achilles heel. So turnovers are the only thing I take away from them.
Talk to me, Megan. While you was off camera, we were just kind of saying, summing up their season, right? Is the glass half empty or half full? Is this a successful season? First year coach, young stars made it to the finals, lost to a more experienced team, or is it a situation where man, they really blew that chance because the East not gonna get no easier? How would you sum this season up?
I think you absolutely have to acknowledge the fact that the East is not getting easier. The competition over there is getting much stiffer, and they're much improved. But also, I think you still have to give the fact that Jason Tatum's 24 years old. Like you said, this is the rookie season for Udoka. And for me, I think the pivotal factor right there is that Boston had a 34-26 record before the All-Star break, and then 17-5 after the All-Star break. So absolutely, it's a successful season. They made it to the finals. Did they win? No, but it was a successful season. There's still work to be done. So that is what that is. But yeah, absolutely, glass half full.
All right, I'm gonna shift this a little bit. We're gonna stick talking Boston, but Tyree, I'm gonna let you jump in here. I want you to specifically talk to me about Jason Tatum and his finals performance. I did a show not long ago. Obviously, he's receiving all the heat, right?
So I don't get to answer the other question.
Oh God, man. Go ahead. Do what you want to do. Don't listen to the host. Do what you want to do, Tyree.
I'm just asking, man, because I mean, I'm 50-50 on that question, right? Half of me feels like it's not they didn't fail because it was a success because they never been there before and the guys are so young, right? But then the other part of me feels like this: the East. I mean, you got Milwaukee be back full strength next year. I know the Heat, they're looking to make a move. Maybe Brooklyn will finally figure it out, right?
He said
I think the Heat
Don't
will
you
make
start with me in your nursing home up there.
I think the Heat will make the
Braylon.
I think the Heat will make
Don't
a
you
move.
start
Though.
with me.
I really do. And you got Boston, like I said, but and you got the Sixers. But
The Sixers.
The Sixers,
Who
yeah.
said the Sixers?
Me.
Don't do
Ain't
that.
nobody worried about no Philly Eagles.
Don't do it.
Ain't
I
nobody
see
worried
you.
about
Don't
no
do
Philly
it. Don't do it,
Sixers.
sir.
Nobody
Don't
worried
do
about
it,
no
sir.
Philly teams.
Say what?
Go ahead.
Hey
Go
man,
ahead.
worry about
Say
that.
it
Worry
again.
about that. Worry about this swine flu you got over there, man. And you got the nerve to part your lips for me, man. When y'all was talking, I didn't interrupt, did I?
Carry on, sir. Carry on,
right.
sir.
So, like I was saying, but we've seen so many guys get to the finals one time and never go back. So it's easy to say, hey, they'll be back. He's young.
Like KD before he joined Golden State.
Here you go.
No,
but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But Ray, how many times have we seen guys go to the finals? Oh, they're a young team. They're straight, and then they just never go back.
Okay, I mean,
never
I was taking shots.
Injuries.
That's exactly what we saw with the 2012 OKC team.
Okay, cool.
I'm agreeing with you.
All right, so you're right. James Harden,
Mike
Russell Westbrook never been back. Yeah, so
Mike Carrot, before I make this shift, right? Sir, please, as brief as you can, sum up Boston season for me.
No, I do think it's a success. And look, I mean, and Tatum didn't have the best first finals, but like Megan said, he's 24. I mean, look, and when I say this, believe me, I'm not saying he's my guy. I'm not saying he's MJ. MJ did not get to the finals when he was 24. So for his first finals, yeah, you're going up against Golden State. It is a success for Boston. Him and Brown can play together. We touched on that last week, 2 weeks ago. I always thought that was a joke. But it's definitely a successful season for the Celtics and what they did, and they can build on it. And yeah, I mean, I'm with Tyree. They're gonna Milwaukee reload. Philly is right there too. Miami. So we'll see what happens. I just, if Kyrie's probably leaving Brooklyn, he's a mess. I don't believe in them. But success for Boston.
My man looked at the timer and said, "I'm done." Listen, y'all don't know.
You threw 10 seconds back on that though, bro.
No, it's looping. It automatically.
He had 30, it went to 0, then went back to 10. I'm just saying.
So listen, we're talking about the Boston Celtics. We're talking about is it a success? Is it a failure? Right? We're talking about a team that made it to multiple Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if I would consider that a failure. I mean, think about it. Maybe you have a guy who wins the scoring title. Maybe you have a former league MVP and you pick him up mid-season. Maybe you have an Australian who won't play. And maybe you have finals aspirations. The next thing you know, your team is home in the second round. You could be this guy. We introduced Eric back to the show. What's going on, sir? What's up?
Wow, what a setup.
At least they went to the playoffs. At least they went to the playoffs.
Oh, what's good, man? How's everybody doing? Appreciate everybody joining us for this last show before we get out of here for 2 weeks, man. And DT, man, much love to you, brother. Thank you so much for making your debut. Oh my goodness, it's been a wild ride, man. And I'm still just coming off of the Black Sport Business Symposium because that thing was off the chain. The whole entire, I was only there for 2 days, and Saturday night they had a gala. I was like, damn, we could have got suited and booted and no one told me. I'm like, I'd have stayed up there for that. But, man.
Some of us are suited and booted the whole weekend, sir.
Yes, copying off my style. We won't get into that there, Mr. Tyree.
Some of us weren't suited and booted, but they're on this panel tonight.
Facts. What I'm saying is, the one thing I did tell Tyree when I saw him was I can no longer say I'm going to pull up on him because when that brother enter a room, you know he there. 6'4", looking like Shaft. I was like, wait, who? Wait, Ty. I was like, wow. I had to take a step back and say, yo, my bad. I'm sorry. Respect. But what's good, Ray? What's going on, man?
Listen,
what are we talking about?
Hey, we here. I will say this real quick. We normally have a little script we run across to say that the sports arena is not responsible for this person's thoughts. Talking about Ty 6'4" and looking like Shaft. I don't know what type of stuff he is on right now. I'm not responsible for that. We good on that, right? So Right before you came on, man, we were talking about. We talked about Steph Curry, we talked about Golden State, but now we're talking about Boston. And let's. I have this question for you, and Danny, I'm coming to you next. What now? What does Boston do? Right?
Back to the drawing board. That's all it is. Boston's back to the drawing board. Listen, this was a team, man, that at the beginning of the year, I doubt anybody who was not a Boston fan had them going anywhere because of what we knew Brown, Tatum, and that squad was. We knew what Marcus Smart was, okay? But we had minimal expectations when it came to their playoff success, okay? What we forgot or what we didn't want to admit was, as everybody I'm sure on this panel has alluded to, this was a team that made it to consecutive Eastern Conference Finals. That was their foundation. So again, when that happens, it's like, well, you never got to that next level. You got to get that monkey off your back. Well, now they did. And yes, they lost to the better team. I don't care what anybody says. Golden State was the better team. You had Clay, you had Draymond, and you had the MVP Steph. They were winning. That's all that needs to be said. I said Warriors in 6. Guess what it was? Warriors in 6. And see, even Megan's
career over for that dog. Danny Thompson.
Manny, I will say this to finish it.
Hold on, that was your dog?
No, that was Megan's dog. And I said, and Megan's dog agrees with me. Here's what I'll say to you, and then you can definitely kick it over to the OG. When I look at Boston, you ask specifically what's next. What's next is they get back in the lab, they make the adjustments, and I'll go on record and say it right now. I expect to see the Boston Celtics, if everybody comes back, I expect to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals next year.
I see that.
I think for me, where do you go from here? You got to find a point guard. Everybody in the panel has already mentioned the fact that they turn the ball way too much. And when you have two guys on offense who are literally elite offensive players in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you need a point guard to make things easier for them. Nothing against Marcus Smart, who is the reigning defensive player of the year, but you need a point guard to keep everything settled. You hear about rumors of DeAndre Ayton or them trying to acquire Miles Turner. Robert Williams is just fine. They need a point guard. They need a pure point guard to be able to set things up for those guys. I'm not going to be on the limb, and like Eric said, and put them in the conference finals. It's too early for that because we don't know what's going on with Brooklyn. We don't know what Kyrie Irving's situation is. We all know Miami's going to go find something. Milwaukee's going to be completely healthy. Listen, don't forget teams like Chicago. Don't forget teams like Toronto. They have cap space. We don't know what the Eastern Conference is going to look like next season.
You just ain't gonna say Philly, Danny, huh? You just ain't gonna say Philly, Danny. You ain't gonna spit it out your mouth?
No, because you're signing James Harden to a contract extension. There's your
But Danny, he got a full off season to actually work with Joel Embiid and that squad. So you seriously ain't gonna put Philly
He also
nowhere.
has a full season.
John, watch. You know what, John? You
if
need to
the guy
I ain't got nothing to say to you right now. Because me and you could have a full conversation that would take us to 11 o'clock past overtime tonight. I'm speaking to the OG Danny Thompson right now. So zip your lip and keep it moving. Danny Thompson, back to you.
So
you want to know what I'm on tonight? I'll tell you exactly what I'm on tonight. I done been to the ballpark and had a couple of Yinglings. That's what I'm on tonight. So what y'all ain't gonna do?
Sponsored by Yingling.
What y'all ain't gonna do is you ain't gonna sit up here and try and disrespect the Philadelphia 76ers.
Nope.
So what I will say is this. If James Harden has to say, I need a whole offseason to get myself in shape, that's not a good sign. James Harden can't bounce back. He doesn't have the snapback body at 34. He can't snap back like he used to. That party is catching up to him. And to be honest with you, his game is starting to slow down a little bit. The step back isn't as effective as it is. And I'm still not 100% sold on James Harden being the number 2 guy of that team. Now, Eric, your number 2 guy is Tyrese Maxey. And Maxey's going to be a phenomenal player in this league. He's going to be a phenomenal player in this league. But James Harden on this team, I think, holds Tyrese Maxey back from his potential, is his ceiling. And his ceiling is this kid has a chance to be an all-star. He has a chance to be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. But if they're going to marry themselves to James Harden, I can't trust the Sixers to get out of the first, maybe the second round, if anything.
You know what, Danny? No, hold on, Mike. No, Mike, this ain't your team. Zip it. Keep your butt in Dallas and Arizona. This ain't your team. Worry about Phoenix. I got this, okay? This is what I'm saying to you. Danny, I respect you more than a lot of people know and understand, and you have taught me so much, all right? But what I am going to say to you is this. You don't think that with age comes experience. James Harden, I think, has realized every point that you have made about him, and you don't think he won't make the transition to say, I'm okay being a role player. As long as I'm still a starter, I can be a role player. I don't need to be the number one. I don't need to be the number two. But my goal, if I'm James Harden, needs to be winning a championship, because my window, much like a lot of these other top tier players, is slowly coming to an end. And I think he recognizes that. Being on this 76ers team with a young guy in Joel Embiid, being with the tag team that I have called them in Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle, okay? Adding those other, as Ray likes to say, complementary pieces to make that meal. I think that's what we're going to see with this team. The jury for me is still, because we always know health, injuries, age, all play a factor. But if James Harden has the right mindset, Philly will be back in the postseason. And you know what, Danny? I'll ride with you. Let's go second round and see what happens. That's where they were last year, and they damn sure better get back there next year.
Well, that's where they've been at the last 5 years. Career over Philadelphia. Megan.
You want Ray Lynn.
You my guy.
Eric, you are hosting the show, but
bro.
I will damn sure do this to you. Don't think I won't. Okay.
Great thing about hosting, you just pop yourself right back in.
Who did they lose to?
We all got
forgot.
Controls.
John, career over for John Shear. I'm tired of John talking about Miami and listening to John talk about Miami. I am tired of it.
Still owe me that dinner for that bet.
Real quick, shout out to my guy Tyree. Y'all see I'm wearing the shirt, man, because career over is becoming a real thing.
It's been a real thing. Avery next. I'm waiting on Avery to come on this show.
Megan,
this man's got the Klay Thompson receipts, man.
Megan, I'm coming to you. So we're talking about Boston. We're talking about next season and what the East is going to look like, right? Milwaukee not going nowhere. Brooklyn expects to come back. Like Brooklyn probably feels like healthy. It's our conference, right? Miami probably feels like it could be their conference to win, right? I don't even want to take shots at John. So talk to me. Like, was this a flash in the pan, or will we see Boston contending again for this conference? And what needs to happen for them to do that?
I absolutely do feel like they're still going to be a contender in this conference. But like you said, Bucks aren't going anywhere. They weren't healthy. They didn't have Chris Middleton. Now, obviously, Chris Middleton is Robin to Giannis's Batman, but because we've had several conversations about that Chris Middleton maybe should be Batman. Incorrect. Giannis is Batman. But definitely Milwaukee's not going anywhere, but Boston, they did some major things. And while we haven't had a chance really to just talk about Jason Tatum too much other than some of the negative things that he had in this finals performance, he was 7th on the scoring this season. And then what he averaged in the postseason was 25.6, 6.7 rebounds, and 6.2 assists. So he had some poor performances in this finals, but also what he did this postseason was really great as well. So, I think the lights were a little bright. That happens when you're 24 years old. That happens when you have a rookie coach. Boston is getting better. I'm not going to be the one to be the hater like I was this past season, because I said Boston wasn't making the playoffs. I bet against them every single game. They proved me wrong every single game. So, they're in there. Top 3.
Talk to me, Tyree.
What did I miss? England left?
I think he back screen drinking or something, man. He popped up on a broadcast with crazy energy, didn't he? Like y'all didn't see my boy, man, representing in the suit and the chucks. Y'all don't even understand, dog. Yeah. Go ahead, talk to me, Tyree.
I'm wondering if that England was maybe Casamigos, but so what's the question, Raylan? There's been a lot going on, man.
Boston, the one I tried to ask you earlier, but you wanted to answer whatever you wanted.
Okay, so go ahead and ask it now.
But no, you already answered that. Jason Tatum. Let's talk Jason Tatum.
No, you didn't ask me.
Because you did. You said you was 50-50 on their season being a success. So let's shift gears to Jason Tatum more specifically, right? Mm-hmm. He's catching a lot of flack for his finals performance. How does he bounce back from this? We'll start with you, Tyree.
I think one thing is this: stop texting Kobe first of all. I don't want to see you texting Kobe no more, Jason Tatum. Don't do it.
Don't you ever disrespect the late great Kobe. He texts him if he want to. Welcome back, sir.
Texting him for what? Why you gonna text him and go out there and play like that?
Hey man, look.
He better text Tyrone Hill or somebody, man. He better text somebody else, man. What's wrong with this dude?
Playing like Kobe in Game 7 against the Suns.
See, this dude right here want to be disrespectful.
Now you're just gonna stir up Mike Cartenuto, man.
Hey, but you put me out, but ain't do nothing to this man right here. That's disrespectful, man.
So let me get to Michael Cartenuto. Jason Tatum's finals performance. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, like Megan said, I think even before Game 1, you heard about the media days and how the Celtics were just kind of they were taking it in. But I mean, Jason Tatum's like, wow, it's like the finals. And I mean, yeah, once it became basketball, I think it was okay. He didn't have a great first game, which they won. But I think overall, I mean, it builds for his career. I mean, everybody's got to get to the finals at some point. And yeah, only one team's going to win. And not too many have got to the finals there the very first time they got to the finals and won, especially at that young of an age. But I love the season he had. And like I said to you earlier in the season, Ray Lynn, like when everybody was like, especially the first half season, oh, you got to break him and Jaylen Brown up. They can't play together. I mean, and that's what cracked me up too, because we talked about them getting to Eastern Conference Finals, and it's like, what do you mean they can't play together? Like they're babies. So like, I just think the season he had, his performance overall, yes, in the finals with the turnovers and not doing as good is only gonna fuel him. So I mean, I can get on board with what Eric's saying. I mean, I think to them it'd be a championship or bust. Every team's going to say that. But getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals, I mean, you mentioned the teams, and whether Milwaukee, I will say Philly, Miami, Brooklyn, Chicago. I mean, that definitely with how they played the first half. I know the injuries down the stretch really hurt Chicago, but I think Jason Tatum, I mean, he's going to have a target on his back. He's the guy for the team. And unfortunately, a terrible performance like this, overall performance, not his numbers. I mean, because you always said, I mean, numbers can say anything. Yes, he did have a good playoffs numbers wise, but finals, it wasn't what he probably up to his level and what he was expecting. So I expect him to be back with full of vinegar. And I expect the Celtics again. I mean, they won't get off to the start they did. Let's put it this way. I'd be extremely surprised if they got off to the start they did this year, next year, because I just think they're even more of an involved team. And I think coaching, again, Ime Udoka has a lot to do with that.
John Shearer, talk to me about Jason Tatum and his finals performance.
Oh, man, this was, like I said, with the turnovers, man, I mean, he's got to get better with that. And the knock on him is he disappears in games that you need him to, and that's always kind of sort of been the knock, is like when you need him, sometimes he ain't quite there. And, I mean, he kind of did the same thing in this series where they needed him, and then at times he disappeared on them. And I know he's young, but if that's your reputation and you showed everybody that that's your reputation and you followed it up with that, I don't know, man. I just don't think Jason Tatum, I don't think he's a killer. That's what I look at. Like when he's texting Kobe Bryant was a killer. Jason Tatum ain't a killer. Like he's a really great player and he's talented, but I don't think he has that killer instinct. You know what I mean? Like I think they need another star. I think they need like a star point guard to help facilitate things, because I just don't think that I don't think they can win a championship with what they got right now. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I just don't I don't think he's good enough when it comes, I don't think he has a killer instinct, and you need a killer instinct.
So I just want to know, in fact, I'm going to go back full screen with everybody. I think we as fans and media have these short-term memories and revisionist history. Like, it's the same guy that was facing elimination game 6 on the road and dropped 45 against Milwaukee. Just the same guy that dropped 30 in game 6 facing elimination against your team, and then followed it with 26 in game 7. And now he's not a killer because of a bad series.
I've always felt
Kobe didn't average 15 in the finals. He's a killer. Bird didn't average 15 in the finals. He's a killer. Steph didn't play bad in the 16 finals. He's a killer. LeBron didn't play bad in the 11 finals. He's a killer.
You watch Jason Tatum and you look at him and you tell me that this guy has.
He looked like a killer against Miami.
I don't look at it. He ain't like, he doesn't have that.
It's amazing to me that everybody was talking about how good he looked against Brooklyn, talking about how good he looked against Milwaukee, talking about how good he looked against Miami. Now we get to the finals. He plays a team that's better than him. He loses like most people would. And now he's not this or he's not that.
I said the same damn thing before the series. I said it before the Miami series. I said the same thing.
Jason Tatum just went out and lost to the same guy who at some point in his career have beat these guys in the playoffs. Just this year, Jokic, Ja, Luka. He's beat Harden. He's beat Russ. He's beat KD. He's beat LeBron. He's beat PG. He's like Dame. Like, there's no harm in losing to Steph. Danny Thompson, I'm coming to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we overreacting? Like Jason Tatum, as Mike Carcenudo pointed out, I've stated many times before, several conference finals, made it to the finals at 24 years old.
Don't do that.
Was having a great postseason run, and it came to a screeching halt and was awful when his team needed the most. But are we overreacting though?
Yeah, I mean, because Jason took what I call the Olympic leap this year. You know, it's always that one player on the Olympic team, basketball-wise, that takes the leap during that stretch. And, you know, like we saw in the Olympics, how Kevin Durant basically passed the torch to Jason Tatum going forward. And we saw what Tatum did in that gold medal game. For those of you, it seemed like it was a short-term memory ago, but Tatum killed France in the gold medal game, which transitioned to this year. Maybe Jason just ran out of legs because they had the short season the year before to turn. They got to the conference finals to turn right back around and play in the Olympics, play a full 82-game schedule, and then a deep finals run. Maybe he's just out of legs. Maybe because he's not used to all that basketball at one point in time at the high level. I think Jason's already taken the next step. What he now needs to do is refine his game and then find that one thing he's missing. And we all agree his ball handling is not as good as it should be. Once he gets that ball handling situation straight, Jason Tatum's a top 5 talent in this league. He has top 5 talent. He just got to fix the ball handling because his three-point shots got a lot better. He gets to the lane, he gets to the paint, he gets to the free throw line, and to the guys point of the panel, when you needed Jason Tatum the most, he's been there. Anybody that gets 40 plus against Milwaukee on the road in the game, elimination game, that's a sign of a monster. That was a coming of age moment. Every major superstar, for the most part, has had a coming of age moment in the finals where things just didn't go their way. Everybody's had it, with the exception of Jordan. So, no. I think Jason will be just fine. Just fix the ball handling over the next month, he'll be all right.
Raylan, I hate to interject. Can I
interject then, Swaggy P? Interject then, Swaggy P.
Can I point out that Danny Thompson didn't even know my name? Can I point that out? He called me that guy.
Okay, you
he
know
ain't
what?
even know my name.
John, because you are that guy.
You talk about the Heat. Because you talk about the Heat, they're irrelevant.
I'm not trying to interject, and I know we press for time, but I need the OG on the screen, just me and him for a moment. So if y'all will indulge me, please. Danny, I got to ask you a question, because when you talk about him, here's what I have a bit of an issue with. You talk about him taking the Olympic league, and you talk about him being the guy moving forward. Looking at his very small career that Jason Tatum has had so far, okay? Mm-hmm. Over the next, I'll just take the next 2 to 3 years. Do you truly believe that he's 100%, take injuries and all that off the table, okay? Do you truly believe in the next 2 to 3 years that Jason Tatum is going to be a name that we continuously talk about?
Yes.
And we're okay. So then help me understand that, because I just don't see it. I don't. I always feel like there's always going to be somebody else, and then Jason Tatum, no matter what team he goes on.
I mean, I felt like you did. I mean, up until the end of last season, I'm like, okay, this guy is not going to be that guy.
Right.
But the light bulb turned. And when Kevin Durant tells you this is now your team, I need you to carry this team in the fourth quarter. In the biggest stage you possibly find. You know, Eric, we both know the Olympics is the biggest stage you're going to find on all the world basketball. And Jason not only took the role, he exceeded that role in that gold medal game. I want to say he was the team's second leading scorer behind Kevin Durant on a Team USA team that wasn't the best, but we still won gold anyway. All year, we saw Jason get better and better and better. Now, does he have flaws? Yes. But Eric, we all know every elite player in this league has a flaw. LeBron's flaw is he's getting older.
Right.
Steph is 34.
Right.
You know, those guys have age concerns. Your guy in B has had health concerns.
Exactly.
You know, Jokic, we've never seen Jokic do a far playoff run, but he's never had his entire arsenal to have it. You look at Giannis, who's built like a creative player in 2K, that's different. Jason will be fine. I think Jason has the ability to be a top 8 player not only this season, but I think as LeBron transitions out, I think Tatum transitions into that top 5 within the next 2 years.
Okay. All right. See, this is why you my OG, and I got to ask because you see it a lot differently. I just haven't. But you know what? I'm going to rock with you on this. But just know that when it comes around, if he doesn't live up to that expectation,
I don't run.
We're going to be having this conversation.
I don't run. You know that.
I know you don't. Listen, and one thing I ain't worried about, Danny Thompson, ladies and gentlemen, the OG ain't scared of nobody. Where do you think I get it from? Okay? As I always say, I ain't never a hard man to find. My bad, Raylin. Go ahead, brother. Thank you.
So listen, we didn't pay enough bills tonight. We're going to pay some bills one last time, and then we're going to sign off. We're going to be off for 2 weeks, so we're going to end the show in a little bit of a different way. But y'all stay tuned. Right after this break, we got more Sports Arena Live. Welcome back to the Sports Arena. Let me get the Queen of Hoops in here, Miss Megan Price, and one of the greats. And shout out to Megan, like she always makes a concerted effort to bring more eyes and ears to the WNBA. She covers it, she watches it, she knows it. One of the greats, one of the legends of the game, Sue Bird, is calling it quits after this season. Briefly talk to us about what she means to the women's game and where her legacy stands as she says this is it. You're muted.
My bad. I think we all kind of expected this, but it was still hard to hear her actually acknowledge the fact that this was going to be her final season. We saw in the Olympics where she said that it was going to be she was done with international play. So I think we knew that this was coming, but it was a possibility maybe next year. But as Seattle is at number 2 right now in the West standings, I think that they still have a real serious chance to maybe send Sue out on a swan song. Maybe they can get her one more championship. She has 4 championships right now. She has 12 WNBA All-Star appearances, which is the most in the history of the WNBA. She has 5 all WNBA first teams, 3 second teams. She's been the WNBA assist leader 3 times. She is the all-time assist leader. I feel like what her legacy is, there's probably only one other person that's better than her, and that's DT, and that's her best friend. And I love that legacy. They're UConn teammates. And if you didn't get a chance to watch them on their podcast, they did some of the women's Final Four and commentating, and it was hilarious. It was funny. I think that she's done so much, not only just for the WNBA, but for women's sports in general. Her and her wife both have just done tremendous things. And, also you got to talk about what she's done overseas. She's had 5 Olympic gold medals. She's had 4 world championships. She's had Turkish league, Russian league championships, Euro league championships. Like, she's just contributed so much. And even if you didn't get a chance to watch the game in New York, she had like the game winning points. She hit a 3 in the last 20 seconds. Like, she's still vital. She's still an important part of that team. And to go out and still be like on a team that is good, and you're a big part of that still, like, go out on top. And that's absolutely what she's doing. She's going to be missed, completely missed.
You almost sound emotional talking about it.
I do. I love Sue so much.
So the Sports Arena is taking off for a couple of weeks, but Megan Price is always working hard. So tell the people while the Sports Arena is absent, if they want to see Megan Price, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Just search the Queen of Hoop. You can find me on Thursdays on the Sip Off, where we have drinks. We talk basketball. It starts at 8:25 Eastern every Thursday. Sometimes I'm late. I'm the only woman on the crew, so that's my prerogative.
You ain't gonna talk to him about 3 chicks in the pot. No, you know what?
Oh, my bad. 3 Chicks in the Pod on Tuesday. I have so many. Okay, 3 Chicks in the Pod on Tuesdays at 7:30 Eastern. Wednesdays, I have 806 Sports at 9:35 Central. You can find that on their page. And you can also find me on Beyond the Rim as well on Wednesdays.
Hard working woman. Appreciate you, Megan. Hang out for a little bit. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. I'm gonna bring John Sheeran here, and we're gonna talk a little bit of MLB. In our group chat, I asked the question, John. I said, is it inevitable? Are we on collision course for a Subway Series?
No.
So who's gonna mess it up? Who's gonna mess it up? Talk to
The
me.
Mets.
Talk to me.
The Mets.
Talk to us about it then.
Come on, man. You know how the Mets are. The Mets do this every year, man. Like, whenever the Mets are actually good, Mets find a way to melt down. They're the same team that melted down with an epic collapse in September. Like, this is what the Mets do. Even though they haven't had Scherzer, they haven't had DeGrom. Like, I get it. I understand that they're going to get those guys back at some point. But this is the Mets we're talking about. The Browns will always be the Browns. The Lions will always be the Lions. The Mets will always be the Mets. There's these teams in sports that are always going to have that stigma tied to them, and they're just never going to get out of their own way. They find a way to Plexico Burris themselves. They always find a way to do this. That's going to happen again. At some point this season, Mets fans are going to be sad and droopy and be like, oh, man, I can't believe this happened. Oh, no, us. Like, that's a life of a Mets fan, life of a Browns fan, like all these teams like that. You're gonna live in infamy. You're gonna live like that for the rest of your life. Sorry, Ray Lynn. That's just how it's gonna be. You as a Lions fan the rest of your life.
You dogging my Lions fan. Then we gotta look. Here go the example of a sad Mets fan. See him?
See, right there. The Falcons. Falcons in that same boat.
So, hey, John Shear, like I said, man, we're gonna be taking a couple of weeks off. Real quick, you said the Mets are gonna mess it up. So you believe in the Yankees?
I don't believe in the Yankees. I just don't think they're going to melt down. They're gonna lose in the playoffs, but it ain't gonna. It's just like there's a lot of good
just
teams.
Gonna melt down.
The Mets will do it in heartbreaking fashion. One of those that just breaks the spirit of the fans. The Yankees just they ain't won nothing in a long time, but they'll be back. They buy their championships. The Mets they find a way to break the hearts of their fans, man.
John Shear, another hardworking man in the business. Sports Arena will be off, but John has a lot going off. Tell the people where they can see John Shear.
Well, I mean, it's not about me. It's about the Sideline Sports Network and all the great people. Ray Lynn, Eric Wilson, Ty Ray, Megan, Mike Cartenuto. Like, we have so many great people. Make sure you subscribe to the Sideline Sports YouTube page. Gary and Stein Show. I mean, they just broke the news about Trey Waynes retiring. Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, NFL Live, all these places are giving credit to the Gary and Stein Show, which is exclusively on Sideline Sports Network. They first reported it. Trey Waynes, he's not officially retiring, but broke news on their show. But anyway, we have so many great shows Sunday through Saturday. We have shows every single day of the week. We have so many fantastic people. It's not about me. It's not about Eric or JB or Jake. It's about all the hardworking people collectively. We're a team. We're a family. And we're the next big thing when it comes to these sports networks. We're the next big thing. So make sure you keep sticking with us.
Appreciate you, sir. Let me go ahead and get Michael Cartenuto on here, sir. At first, my intent was to ask you, can Tampa Bay get back in this series? But as I'm looking, they are up 6-2 with 6 minutes left in the third. That's probably what you turn your head around looking at. So talk to me about these Stanley Cups, sir. Tampa Bay, reigning 2-time defending champs. They come out, they're down 0-2, but they have fought back. They have responded like you would expect. Talk to us about it, sir.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been a home team series. I mean, we always talk about that in all playoffs that, Colorado defended their home ice. Tampa's defending theirs. I mean, Colorado really put the beat down on them. A lot of Tampa fans and pundits were talking about, game one, okay, we get it, but they're going to come back in game two. And look, Colorado's a one team that can go from end to end with them speed-wise, even though I know I don't watch any hockey allegedly. But no, Colorado is that team in the West that can or in the league, obviously in the West, but they can do that. So yeah, I mean, Tampa's going to have a big response. I mean, I thought the second or Tampa's first goal that went in to kind of tie it up was a little soft. So I thought, the puck might roll their way tonight, but they've had some sick goals tonight. Look, I love what Tampa's done. I mean, what Cooper's done, obviously, with this team getting back to a Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, I know they talked about it. It's been well documented how The year they won the President's Cup, they got bounced in the first round. But then after that, now it's been three straight finals, back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. So, look, they're going to respond at home. They have the roster. They have the team that can do it. I mean, I love the Stanley Cup playoffs, but the finals are obviously just the mecca of playoffs for me, because it's just, I mean, the speed, the intensity of the game, and the crowd out in Eric's neck of the woods. I mean, so he was at whoever was at the baseball game or whatever. Hell, Charles Barkley even flew out for the game. Ray Lynn, he was a guest after the first intermission. He was name dropping how he called Gary Bettman this morning, and he flew over to Tampa to go to the game.
Okay, so Mike, like I said, man, with everybody else, the sports arena is off for a couple of weeks. But if the people want to see you or find you, how can they do that, sir?
Yeah, man, hit me up on Twitter. I mean, obviously, taking a break on the Believe in Pac-12 Hoops podcast, because obviously college hoops, only thing really to talk about right now is transfer portal. And as much as you tease me, I love to talk, Raylan, that's really not much content, because a lot of people are transferring and there's new rosters everywhere. But I'll get to that in September, with especially with the Pac-12. But hit me up on Twitter at Diablos00. Again, like John said, subscribe to the Sideline Sports Network on YouTube. Hang out with all of us, and hang out with Ray Lynn. At least he doesn't, throw me off the screen as much as he throws John off the screen. So I feel accomplished, Ray Lynn. I feel accomplished.
Hey, he gets thrown off the screen, but you know the kind of treatment you get, right, sir?
Here it is.
you know what you get, sir.
It's just because I have a lot of facts to talk. Yeah, but at least you never say I'm not talking about anything facts.
Well, you asked for it. So, last but not least, nobody's expecting this. They have no idea where I'm going with this. We just want to do something a little different. I had the pleasure, the honor of being a part of something very special this week. I was down in Atlanta. You name it, it happened. Jamel Hill in the building, Eric Thomas in the building, Deion Sanders in the building, Valerie Daniels Carter, if you don't know, that's the minority owner for the Bucks, was in the building. Dominique Wilkins was in the building. And it was one of those things like you had to be there to appreciate it. We do a lot of this sports media content online, but I had the opportunity to meet some of these brothers live and in person, and they experienced it just like I did. I want them to come on and share their thoughts. We got Tyree, we got Dandy Thompson, we got Eric Wilson. Y'all were there like I was there. I'm gonna start with you, Eric, man. Talk to me about this week in Atlanta.
Man, I'm still on a high, like I said. And, for those who do or don't know, Danny Thompson and I, we met in Orlando about 3 years ago. And the brother's been kind of like a mentor, a big brother. He's been schooling me on just the games. I'll never forget, it was an Orlando Magic game. Danny and I are in the front row, and I lean over to ask him if the question that I wanted to ask Coach Cliff at the time was a good question. And Danny was like, take that. And it was just, for me, that was huge for me. I'll never forget that. He always calls and checks up on me. But not to see him because, listen, when the doors open, you got to walk through them. When Ty came in, like I said, I mean, I joke about that brother, but that brother has been so passionate and so instrumental, not only with his own show, Say What, Say What Again, every Tuesday, 8:30. Check him out on Facebook with the entire crew, but just always jumping in and filling in, if I need him to come on the sports arena, he's always got me. And then, of course, Ray Lynn has just been a force. And I'm so thankful that both Danny and Ty introduced me to Ray Lynn, because Ray does it. The brother don't ask no questions. He's like, I got you. Even today, full transparency, I was at a Rays Yankees game, and Ray called me. He was like, I got your text. I got your message. I got your call. I got you. Go spend time with your family. Go have a good time. We got this handled. And clearly, I left out of here. But the symposium, man, it was that organicness, that camaraderie, that chemistry. That's what I miss, man. Like, just being around these brothers for 2 days. And, I mean, it didn't matter whether we were in the Superdome or Mercedes-Benz, or we were just at a bar or at a hotel lobby watching the game. The energy that you felt when you walked into a room and saw us, you knew that this was real, that this was raw, that this was genuine. We don't script none of this. I'm gonna tell y'all 100. We don't script one of this. What we do, we put a rundown together. I work with some of the best people because I know their minds and I know their hearts. And as Danny said to me, we ain't gonna wait 2 years before we get together again.
Appreciate you, sir. Genuine as always. Like he said, man, we laughing and joking, man, but I really was shocked, bro. Tyree got to be about 6'9". He say 6'4". This brother got to be about 6'9", walking around with his suits tailor fit. Nah, I sound like E talking crazy. But Ty, man, you were there. Aside from the piece with getting to be around some of these brothers that we've done work with, man. Talk to me about the experience in general, man. ESPN, some of those great people that were around. Talk to me about your experience in Atlanta.
Like Eric said, man, it's like being on a high, man. Like, I guess reality crashed to a halt for me today when I had to, come back home and be around my friends and everybody, talking about asking me about the event. So I get to relive it once again. But, I like to give a special shout out to Eric and Danny, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even have went. Eric, I remember, Eric sent me the email, and I'm bad for not reading emails, and I didn't even read the email. And then he called me like a week later and was like, "Did you get in?" I'm like, "Get into what?" And so he's like, him and Danny's both on the phone. And I'm like, while they're on the phone, I'm like, man, let me go ahead and, apply. And like, I know I was like one of the last sets of people to get in, because I think I probably only got in like maybe 2 weeks before the event or a week before the event or something crazy like that. But it was a blessing, man. Eric Thomas, ET was amazing. Even like Leah Boston, man, I just appreciate her for being so down to earth, and me getting the picture for my students. I think that was like the highlight of my weekend. And I do want to say this, you just never know who's watching you, right? Because I was sitting at the table, and y'all guys might not have known this, but I was sitting at the table, eating, chilling, on my tablet, and a young lady walks up to me and she says, "I follow you on Instagram." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I look at her name tag, and she works for ESPN. And I'm like, how do how do we know each other? We've been following each other on Instagram for a while. And she was just telling me, like, she loves my content, and just kind of just keep doing what I'm doing. And to me, that just kind of blew my mind that I didn't know this girl. Never seen her before. But she knew me and she knew my content. So to me, that was just, the weekend, it was just crazy, man.
Last and certainly not least, man, he keeps calling him the OG, the man himself, the guy who's not a part of this family, but he's here for the first time, pulled up on us, but he is family. He was out there live and in person. Everybody went one way, he went the other way, and got that picture with Jamil Hill. We seen you, sneaky joker. Talk to us, Danny, man, about Atlanta. You muted.
For the last 2 years, we've been in COVID, and COVID has allowed us to be able to continue to do sports content, but we were all virtual. And so to spend 3 days with the three guys to the right of me, Mike Patton, Cortland Griffin, Ryan Jones, Rodney Richardson, be able to spend time with the same people that I appear on shows with, that I have sports debate with. For those who don't know, me and Ray will go at it like cats and dogs. But at the end of the day, I have a respect and a new appreciation for those 6 brothers that I spent the time with. They're my family. They became family in 3 days. I've known Eric for over 3 years. We spent many a time in press box together. Me and Ray have debated sports forever, and Ray has an immense talent that has not been tapped. And once he taps it, the sky is the limit. Eric is a mastermind of production that most people don't really see, because no one really pays attention to production, but they only see the finished product. And Ty, not only does he have to, create, say it again, but he has turned himself into a really good play-by-play broadcaster. And, we all saw Mike Patton. Cortland Griffin is a diamond in the rough, just waiting to be polished up and ready to go. Ryan Jones, the man walked in with a boot with an Achilles injury, and was pushing it all weekend. And Rodney Richardson he's evolving his talents in all shapes and forms. But to be there with 2,000 people, the guys I mentioned before, to have speakers and to network, and just to be in the grace of people that are like you, that look like you, that want the same goals and dreams and ambitions as you, is inspiring. It really is. And Ty's point, like if it hit home today when I'm looking around and I see my house and I don't see the same folks I was in Atlanta with. I'm back to seeing my wife, my rabbit, and my mama. So that's pretty much what my life looks like right now.
y'all boys silly. Listen, man, let me get the whole crew back in here because y'all won't see us for a while. Bringing Megan back, bringing John back, bringing Mike back. The sports arena will not be on for the next couple of weeks. We won't be on until July 6th. But everybody told y'all where you can catch them. Tyree didn't mention it, but yeah, we'll say it again. Danny, real quick, plug your show real quick because you have a radio show, correct?
Yeah, Sports Insight 757 with Jay Lee. Saturday mornings, Sports Radio 96.5, FM 850 AM in Norfolk, Virginia. If you don't have the app, go ahead and download Sports Radio 850 app. We're on every Saturday. We have plenty of guests, plenty of sports banter, a lot of back and forth. So, we're more likely, like I said, at some point in time, I will have each of the six of y'all on at some point in time just to talk mega the WNBA because I need somebody to talk the W with because the rest of the guys on my show can't do it.
I got you.
Oh, she's always down. And listen, like I say, we out of here for 2 weeks. We done ran our mouth enough. Speaking of the W, there's nothing left for the sports arena to say but this right here.
Yeah.